Hey, 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 what's going on, everybody? It is Friday night. So it's some night of the week. I don't know what night of the week it is anymore. It's been a crazy week. So we got kind of a pop-up show going on tonight. Well, give me a second to switch back over to comments. I hope everyone's having a great night tonight. We got a little pop-up show tonight. Jonathan wanted to talk about a con that's going on this weekend and asked if I would have him on. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what they have going on. But first of all, we're going to talk about the sponsors real quick. We've got Melone Management. Lisa Malone, do you have a project that's running right now or a project that'll be coming out soon and you need help getting things set up, ordering stretch goals, and all that good stuff? Hit up Lisa Malone and she can help you push your project to the limits. We also have 183 Degree Studios with Alfred Trio, Doobie Doobie Doo, and Kara Nicole, Miss AZ Power Girl. Fire Bitch 2 is wrapping up on Indiegogo. They have the after campaign, and things will be going out here before too long. You can also check out their Patreons. The links are in the description up above. What's going on, Smithers? We also have Codex Entertainment LLC. They just dropped Nebula Pearl on Kickstarter, launched in February and funded, and I just got mine in the mail today, so I'm excited to open that and do a review on it. There will be a return of Blue Balls reviews here before too long, so stay tuned for that. And they also have Lily the Demoness Chapter 5 coming this summer. And we have Outpost 426 Studios with CB Zane and Michael Shoemaker. We have the Mighty Might #1 launching on June 1st. The link for that is in the description above. If you haven't heard about it, you want to check it out, just hit that notify me link up above. You get notified on Kickstarter when that launches on June 1st. We also have Naughty Faeries with our naughtiest fairy, Wendy Steen Shaner. If you don't know anything about Naughty Fairies, then go check it out. There is a con link up above where you can go to BackerKit and check out some of the earlier issues, as well as her Etsy link where you can get caught up on any back issues. And we also have DPopp Customz. If you have a print that needs to be jazzed up, hit up DPopp Customz and he can take care of it for you. So without further ado, we're going to bring out Jonathan Syfax. Maybe.
Hey, hello. How is everyone?
Oh, you know, it's Friday night. Everybody's got that 3-day weekend blues. They're like counting down, like, man, I'm going to lay down and wake up and it's Monday. Because that's what every week feels like. I mean, let's be honest.
It's funny you say that because that's really what happens. You're like, okay, Friday comes, and then you zoom through the weekend. You're like, oh, Monday's here.
Yep.
Going Friday again.
Oh, every week, man. It never ceases to amaze me. And it's like, you know, at least I don't have anything planned. That's usually what happens. Like if I have a big weekend like you know, you guys got this con going on. If I have something big planned, it's like the week just drags on. I'm so excited for the weekend to get there. And it's like, yay, it's Friday. We're on our way to go stay at the hotel and go to the con. And then it's like, wait, I'm back at work. It's Monday? What happened? Where did the weekend go?
It's funny because when you leave the con, that's like the most tense moment when you're loading it back in the car. That's when you have the least conversation with your best friends. It's like let's just get it in. Let's get back to the house.
Yep. So, Pow Con, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that's coming up tomorrow. It's Saturday and Sunday. I believe it starts at 10:30, but you can double check that. And it's done by cool dude, our friend Sal Lamedico. Very cool dude. It's gonna have some great, fantastic stuff. Great guests. He's going to have giveaway contests, games there, all type of fun activities, and also George Medina and Senor Vera will be at the table next to us with their fantastic products. They're also going to have their Kickstarter going into Sunday. So they're trying to get to 50 backers, so please back up my brothers. Good guys, and got some great work with Catch the Crazy. So,
What's going
and you
on,
get
Cameron?
to see me rip my brothers a little bit. So,
And this is in Wayne, New Jersey?
yes.
And what facility is it held at?
I think it's PAL building.
Yeah,
PAL
the
building.
Police Athletic League.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm on the page right now. I want to try to bring up the link for it so we can show a little bit about it on screen. So is this the first year that you guys are doing this con, or is this something that you've done before?
I haven't done it before. I believe it's also it might not be Sam and George's, but it's the first year I'm doing. Absolutely, yeah.
So what kind of things are you going to be taking there? I guess you'll be.
Well, I have two books, and I actually show y'all really quick. I'll start with our newest project. This
Cool,
is
I'm gonna show.
called The Lesson. Yep. This is called The Lesson. And this book has been written by me, but it's actually represented by a gentleman named Derek Peoples, and he created the story and wrote it along with me. Um, Great book, really cool stuff, great art, and a fantastic story. So we're going to have this accessible at the con for purchase, along with tie and art to the book. So that's cool. And we also will have Future Scope Showcase, which is my book directly from my company, which is Future Scope Comics. And this has 3 stories, which is an anthology book. One an urban tale, one an action tale, and a hero female tale. And Russell can vouch for the book because he gave it a fantastic review.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you. You know, you guys, if you guys haven't picked this up, definitely get in contact with Jonathan. He can give you his PayPal, and it wasn't high priced or anything, and that's gonna. I can't wait for that. You know, I'm ready for that.
Oh,
I mean,
Celestine, yes, the name of the book, I'm
everybody
sorry.
knows Vampirella is my favorite, but I absolutely love the art for Celestine. It is absolutely phenomenal. Um, I mean, oh, wrong page. It's absolutely phenomenal. There's some
Thank
really cool
you.
stories in here. You got Zion 3, you got Street Journal, and you've got Celestine in here. So what is it, like $10, Jonathan?
Yeah, ten
Yeah.
bucks, and we're going to do package deals too for like. So, for example, if you get, let's say, Future Scope Showcase, hey, what up? Future Scope Showcase, and uh, the lesson along with a print, you would have like $2, $3 not sure. Uh, and Annibal's art will also be showcased at Boy George Medina. What up? Annibal's art will also be showcased in Samuel Vera's book, Forbidden. Fantastic artist. And I'm not just saying that because he's my brother from another mother, along with Sam and George, but he really is an amazing artist. So that's a book you could check out at the Pow Con. So support that too.
And
Really
it's
appreciate
Sam Vera, not Vera Sam. So if you see his Facebook page, you know, don't be like me and call him Vera Sam. He's like, dude, it's backwards because you know, of things. So guys, here is I'm gonna pop this link in there so you guys can check out the main page. So here I want to show this off real quick. Here's some of the main page.
it.
Um, they're giving away a PS5. They announced it right here. So, you
Yes.
know, Pow Con comes to New Jersey, win a PS5 at Pow Con NJ. And there's the link right there at the top of the page. When I share this link in there, you guys, if you anybody that lives close to New Jersey can go and check it out. Um, so there you go. Don't let bad weather ruin your holiday weekend. Come join us for Pow Con. See, it's supposed to be nice here. I don't know about you guys. I had seen that Minnesota's getting snow, so
Yeah.
it's
They
been that
said
kind of
that.
crazy year.
Yeah. 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 I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think they did say that it may be a little chilly, but overall should be very nice weather.
Hey, Mark, thanks for dropping in. Hey, Annabelle.
Hey, thank you, Mark. Look.
And so there you go, guys. They're gonna have one of the Power Rangers members. Sorry, I don't know the names of the newer ones. I don't watch it anymore. Broderick loves it though. And if you're into American Idol, sorry, had to say that. So if you're
It's
into
good though.
American,
People like American Idol. It's,
let's get it out. Let's be honest. All right, hold on. Back it up, Jonathan. Let's be honest. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's see. Exit for. Let's be honest here. People don't like American Idol. People watch American Idol to see the bad rehearsals. That's why people watch American Idol.
Let me tell you, I actually honestly did listen to American Idol. Now I'll be honest. If let's say The Crow came on, I'm missing an episode, but it was okay.
Okay, Walter Jones. There you go. Man, it's been so long, Mark, since I've watched Power Rangers. Like, I think the last time I seen Power Rangers when the first movie came out. I got it for Christmas on VHS. And, dude, man, that's been like 1993, something like that. It's been a long time. So, yeah, we're talking, 30 years.
Were you a big wrestling fan? Because they got Carlito, I believe.
Yeah, I
Carlito.
seen they had Carlitos. Yeah, I was a big wrestling fan when my grandpa when I was young. My dad really didn't watch it. We didn't have it on. We just had like basic air TV. We didn't have cable or anything like that. So I very occasionally, if we had a local show or it was something that aired on one of the standard channels, I would watch it. But my grandpa, before when I was probably 8, 9, that's all he watched. He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna watch wrestling." I'm like, "Yeah, So I was old school, The Undertaker, and man, I see
Okay.
this new stuff, and I'm like, this is just crazy.
Oh yeah. It's not the same storylines. I mean, I watch it just because I'm a fan, and I consider wrestling soap operas for men. So I'm like, what's the next zany, crazy story they're gonna have? But the classic stuff was the area you're talking about.
Hey, what's going on, Grant? And
Yeah.
so here we go for the Saturday panel times at 12 p.m. Energy Comics panel will be on at 1 p.m. Catch the Crazies, starting a podcast Q&A panel. And then at 2 p.m. we have Walter Jones Q&A Power Ranger panel for 45 minutes. And then the Fandom Stardom panel. And then at 4 p.m. on Saturday is the PS5 raffle and gift raffle giveaways. And at 4:30 p.m. you have the cosplay contest. So
I want to see that.
What's that?
I want to see the cosplay. I'm not making no money for that. For that time, I'm not making no money.
Come on, don't lie. When you said I want to see that, it was right when I flashed American Idol on here, man. You're still, gushing over this American Idol thing. Jeez.
Hey, I'm a guy.
I like kick you out of here.
I'm losing points, yo.
You are losing points. I mean, before too long, we're going to be in the negative. We're going to have negative demerits. What are we going to do with you, man? That's it. Just going to have to fire you.
I do not want to watch cosplay. Did I redeem myself? I will not leave my table for cosplay. Did I redeem myself?
No, you can leave your table for cosplay. I'm just saying you were like, I want to see this when I flashed up American Idol on the screen. And I'm just saying, man, you're losing points here.
Well, I don't like
cool,
American
though. I like the cosplay. You don't like it. Hey, listen, man. This was a test.
Retract my statement.
This was a test. You're not supposed to cave to peer pressure here. You're supposed to be like, man, I love American Idol. I don't care what you say. You can go F yourself. Russ Explode Studios. I'm out of here. Just leave. And then turn it off.
I'm done.
Yeah, throw your phone off across the room for dramatic effect. Make everybody sick as your camera's twirling. Be like, that's it. I've had enough of your shit. You're not going to talk about me like that. American Idol's the best thing since baked bread. No, I'm just kidding.
God bless Britney Spears.
Yeah,
I could stand with you, man. That was a joke.
No, I know. I don't know if it was a joke or not. I mean, we'll find out when you get back to Pow Con and you shaved your head and you're like rambling and walking around the street.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Better put some spec on Idol name.
I do have to say this, and I will stand by this. And my boy Annabelle got my back on this. We love Supernatural. I will stand by that. Great show.
Lame.
Dean and Sam.
Lame.
Lame?
No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I will jump on board with the Supernatural bandwagon. So, Everything that happened last year, I guess with me being home, she had already watched like the first half of the season 1, and so I jumped in late, so I had no idea that his mom, died and she caught on fire and all that stuff. So I'm like, had no idea what was going on.
You
But
did a spoiler for the people that didn't see it.
oh my gosh, if they haven't seen it yet, then it's been spoiled a long time ago. What's going on, Dustin Poppins? That's DPopp Customz in the house. So we watched it all the way up to like season 13, and then like season 14 finally dropped. So we watched season 14. Well, then I guess the beginning of the summer last year, they dropped the first half of season 15, and then they had stopped filming it. So I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. Like, we're watching season 15. I'm like, I don't even remember much of the first 14 seasons because, everything that happened, it all kind of just became a blur with me. And I'm like, why don't we just start over? She's like, good, because I don't really know what's going on right now either. So we actually started rewatching it. We started with season 1, I want to say like 2 months ago. And we're on season 9 now, getting ready to go on season 10. So we'll be catching up to the grand finale. So I'm kind of interested to see how things tie up. What's up, Christian?
What up? Hey, my brother. Christian, also, I want to shout out my brother there. He has a great book called It's a Living. Fantastic read. Phenomenal book. He's a great artist. Really a great dude. So if y'all need some great art, check him out. He has a space page and really good dude. Really solid professional dude.
Well, actually, Christian hit me up to come on. I think we're going to plan on having him on June 29th. So that ties me up for the month.
Okay.
I have one more date available, and after that, June will be full. My advice is stop watching after season 5. Exactly. The
it's
worst thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the story picks up. There's some good aspects to it, Mark. But the Leviathan season is absolute garbage, and like I cringe every time I hear Ghost Facers. Like when I see when I see Ghost Facers coming on, I'm like, oh, skip this episode. We don't need to watch this. I'm like, they're, and the bad thing is after season 5, it really went downhill. And the reason why is all the writer strikes. Like I can't even count with both hands. I mean, you need like 10 hands just to be able to count how many episodes were like, this is going to be a filler episode because there's a writer strike. So we're just going to make up something stupid. And you're like sitting there watching it. And you're like, could you imagine, like, you're a diehard Supernatural fan, and you're watching the show, and you're like, the next week you got your popcorn ready, you get your drink next, you're like, yeah, let's get Supernatural on. And one of those filler episodes comes on where, like, Sam and Dean have nothing to do with the story, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is bull.
I got to tell you, I love Supernatural, but season 13 was... it was killing me for season 13. It moved so slow. It dragged so much. And I was like, just fight through it. And I'm a diehard. I'm like, just fight through it. Fight through it. Something got to change by 14.
Good luck.
What is that, man? I didn't season 10.
But yeah, that's true. So the original writer only wrote it to season 5, and it was supposed to end there. And they're like, "Hey, we're making bank on this. Yeah. Let's keep it going." Just like every other good show, they're gonna run it into the ground. Which leads me to another thing. I am so on the fence about Ghostbusters. Like, I really, 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 really want to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. And then on the same hand, I'm like, are they gonna screw it up? Because the originals are classics, man. I've watched them so many times. And it looks really good. I've seen the newest trailer for it, but I'm still on the fence, man. It's such a good thing. Let's jump to the party. Yeah, buddy, there's a doozy question. Wait for it. Oh, boy, here we go. All right, Annabelle, let it shoot.
Yeah, the question? Oh, what's the question?
Oh, no, he doesn't have a question yet.
What?
He had to think about it. I think he shorted out. He's got a reboot, so we'll have to stand by for his question. Hey, I gotta give everybody trouble, man. That's just me. Give everybody a hard time.
That's how you keep it interesting.
Yeah, I gotta keep you on your toes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to ask you a Supernatural question as a fan.
Okay.
Who is your favorite character?
That's a hard one.
I know mine. Well, I know my top two. Easy.
I only
Say
want to
it.
see Ghostbusters Athletes if it's an all-female cast. Not we won't even talk about that. You know what? I actually forgot there was a female Ghostbusters movie. That's really funny because there
Oh yeah,
was
I don't
one.
even talk. I didn't even go through that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, and here I am. I'm like, well, there's the original two. Let's see if they screw this one up. I just like totally glossed over the fact that there was a female Ghostbusters for a reason because I never had any want or need to go see that. So, not love it. And let's see, as both writers, if you were to compare writing to anything, what would it be and why?
Yeah. If I was to compare writing to anything, what would it
Yeah,
be and why?
yeah,
That's a good question. I would compare writing to basically like playing God. That's what I compared to. And the reason why I say that is because your job as a writer is to create a world from scratch and make people believe it's real in such a way that they have a real visceral reaction to something that you created that is ultimately uh, from your imagination. But they have to feel it, they have to kind of touch it, their essence got to be connected to it, and you have to make something not real very real to them in that space. And if you really did your job right, they won't be able to even pull themselves away because they're so connected to the material. So.
and so before I answer that question, I'm going to backtrack and answer your question so I don't forget to answer it. I have to say Lucifer is one of my favorite characters on there, just because he's hilarious.
He's good.
He's
Yes.
really good. He's really good at playing his part. He's very believable, and I really like him. I like Castiel, and outside of that, oh well, yeah. I mean, we'll stick with Lucifer. A couple of the female demons are pretty funny too. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, and I can't believe it because we just watched it. She's the dark haired one.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
that
yeah.
stays with Castiel
Gunman
whenever
too, but
he's in the mental hospital. I can't think.
yeah,
Crowley is really good too. I like Crowley.
Crowley's my boy. Crowley's the man. He's good. He has the best line.
And then they say writing is rewriting. So my answer for what I would compare writing to is free therapy. So
Yes.
you know, as far as creating new worlds for me is easy. I don't know. It's just something that I've always done since I was a kid. Like you guys see me post these memes and these Steph Pool drawings, and I like when Steph says, "Hey, we're gonna draw this tonight." I like boom. It's just like bam. I know I'm gonna draw with Steph Pool. I already got the dialogue laid out, and I know what's gonna happen. I'm really good at doing that. And as far as like making believable characters, I'm really good at I'm like a watcher kind of. I
Oh,
watch
nice.
people, not like in a creepy way, but like I watch how
No,
people in. I watch how
no.
yeah, yeah, not in a
Be like,
creepy
I'm
way.
gonna write you. I'm writing you.
And so I watch people and I watch how they interact with each other. Other kids interact with their parents and how and it makes it easy because when I do write or I go to create a character, I can always think of somebody that I know that really makes me feel there's a connection between that character and that person. So I take that person and the way they act, and I kind of use that to write the character because I feel it makes it more believable. So I kind of call it free therapy just for the simple fact that when I come home after work or I'm on the weekend, I've had a rough week, that's when I let my feelings and my emotions flow into my story, Uh, and another reason why I say that too is because try writing in a mood that you're not in. If you're in
Oh,
a
I'm with you.
if you're sad, you've had a bad week, your dog died, you can write a sad part of a
Yeah.
book. If you're having a great day, you can come home, you can write a good part of a book. But when you've had a bad day and you're at a good point in your story, try sitting down and writing. You can't. And that's why
Nice.
writing is like free therapy because when you have those bad days, you can come home and you can lay your feelings out on the paper, so to speak, because now everything's digital unless you still, use a typewriter or you still handwrite your stories. But it really is free therapy. I mean, this was therapy for me. Going back and rewriting my first book, adding, the heartache and the stuff that we've went through over the last, 7-8 years now. And, you know, now that I have kids, I was able to rewrite those interactions. Like I said, I'm a watcher, you know. So now that I have kids, instead of, you know, the boring, you know, vanilla interaction between Raziel and his kids, now it became something more, because Raziel and his kids interact the way my kids interact with me. And so that's why I say it's free therapy, just because, you know, I can have a really bad day and come home and write, and it's relieving, you know, it releases that stress. Russ Explode just took on a whole new meaning. Russ be creeping. If writing is rewriting, then maybe a similar job as a clockmaker that's always repairing the watch until it doesn't miss a beat. Let's see. And then Christian says, I also use real life locations and characters in my fiction. Let's see. Sometimes that's the best writing, though. Well, and that's the thing. You know, when you write, you have a bad day and you write a bad scene in the book, you know, where the character's just pissed off at the world. Or you write, you know, you have your dog dies and you write this, you know, sad part of your story. When the reader comes behind and reads it, they can read the emotion in it and they can connect with it because you were in that mood. And so you're going to write in the style that's going to put your reader in that mood. And I got to admit, you know, I tried it last year. I was like, I got to write this. I got to get this chapter finished. And I would come home and I would write like 3 words. And I'm like, I'm just not in the mood for this. I would just close the computer. I'm like, I'm done. I'm going to walk away. We'll try again tomorrow.
That's okay.
You never want to force yourself. No, you can't. And my problem is I'm not somebody that takes notes, and I don't write just to. I can't skip around. Like I start and I write, and then I stop because I got to go to bed. Otherwise, I would just write nonstop and then just go to work and come home and write some more. But you know, I just write. You know, and I write as the story goes, and I don't take notes. I don't skip around, you know. So if I'm at a point in the book that I have to be in that mood, I'm stuck there until I'm in the right mindset to write that part. And so sometimes it's frustrating because it's like you want to make headway on your book, but you're just like stuck in a rut because you're not in the right mood.
But you want it to flow.
But you want it to flow.
You want it
exactly.
To flow. Filter, yeah.
What's the toughest type of story for each of you to write, and what's your easiest?
Good question. I'm going to let you answer that first. We'll mix up the order.
Oh, yeah, we're going to mix up the order? So, hey, what's up, Michael Sammartino? What's going on?
Yeah, what up, Mike?
So to answer this question, the easiest thing for me to write is science fiction, horror, and comedy, just because I'm a funny motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, you are.
You know, I like horror. You know, I'm really bad at jump scaring people just because it's fun. You know, a funny story about that is we went to Creepy World in Fenton, and we're going through this haunted house, and my friends are with me, and it was Dustin and his girlfriend, and then it was my wife and I, and what it is a bunch of different horror houses all connected together. And so, first of all, it's really funny because this lady comes up and she's like got a knife and she's all like bloody and she's like just trying to be as scary as possible. She's like, "You want to play a game?" I was like, "What you got? Monopoly, Connect Four? You want to play Uno?" I was like, "I think I got a deck of cards out there. We can play 52 card pickup." And like you could tell, like it just pissed her off. Like she just kept getting madder and madder. And I was like, "What? You got no love for Monopoly?" I was like, "Man." You know, and so we get through there, and it's a bunch of different houses, and each house is like a different scene, and they're like trailers and stuff. So we get to this one part where there's this fence that runs down, and it takes a lot to scare me. I think the only freaking movie that's ever really creeped me out is Insidious. Insidious.
Not even Exorcist.
No, the Exorcist doesn't bother me. I laugh when her head starts spinning around. I mean, that stuff just cracks me up. Saw, you know. Saw isn't really a horror movie. It's like a mutilation movie. So like that's what really gets you is like the blood and gore. Like this dude just got his like legs ripped off, or you know they got dunked in a vat of acid. You know that's just like a mutilation. But so we get to this fence partition where it's like a gravel lot, and you walk past the fence and you got to come up and then go back down the other side of the fence. So I was like, oh man, you know me, I'm always the practical joker. So I hide on the side of the fence, and I was like, man, when Dustin and Nikki come around the corner, I'm gonna jump out and I'm gonna scare the shit out of them. So I did. I was like, and like, mind you, we were getting ready to go into the clown house, so they hit the deck.
Oh.
And it was hilarious because everybody behind them hit the deck too with them. And so
You got
my wife's like, you're a terrible person. You just scared some like 6-year-old boy back there and made his dad look like a wuss because he jumped down on the ground with him.
and then they fly her and hide you. Hey, the one in the makeup, get out of here. He's better.
Yeah,
You're giving him the job.
The Descent isn't bad. I just got to say, Insidious really creeped me out, man. It was just Insidious when I watched that, the red demon, and then when she walks in the room and she looks up in the corner, and then all of a sudden a demon appears in the corner. That just creeps me out, man. Like, demons are just like creepy. Like, because it's like, could you imagine like one day you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, man, I got to take a leak. You know, you walk in the bathroom, you flip the light on, and there's something like that up in the corner of your ceiling. I would just die right there. I'm done. Just Lord, take me home.
You were like, it's over. I'm tough, but it's over.
So writing horror and you know, funny scenes and sci-fi. I mean, sci-fi is my big thing. I've always been into sci-fi and robots, but I think the hardest thing for me to write would have to be romance. You know, we'll leave that for the ladies because they're the romantic ones. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to try to be romantic or do research to do romance. I mean, it's not me. So definitely romance to answer your question on what's the toughest type of story to write. What about you, Jonathan?
I will say the toughest, the easiest. Well, I don't really have an easiest story. I'm very critical of myself as a writer. So to me, it's all hard because I overanalyze in the first phase.
Come on, man! Sorry. Haven't you seen Frozen? Let it go. I mean, come on, man.
I know. I do this, dude. I'll look at the first. You know, the problem that I make, the mistake I make is I'll write a paragraph and then I'll go read Poe and be like, "Am I getting better?" so I'm like, I'm crap.
Well, see, that's the thing, man. That you can't ever be hypercritical of your work. You've got to write and just keep going. You can't go back and reread it. That's what editing's for. Because the thing is here's the honest to God truth. I don't mean to like interrupt you, but here's the honest to God truth. If you're writing and you stop and you go back and read it, you're not going to like it. You're going to change it.
Yeah.
But here's what's going to happen. In the editing phase, you're going to go back and you'll be like, I don't like this. And you're going to change it. And the truth be told, you probably are changing it back to what it originally was because it was better the first time.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. So I'm trying to discipline myself out of that. The hardest writing for me is interesting memoir writing, even though drama is what I tend to gravitate to. That's tough. And memoir writing, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Annabelle said easiest or most natural for you, John.
Yeah. The problem with memoir writing for me is if I write it, especially because it's it will be a drama piece, I'm going all in. So to me, it's like all the open source just open up right on the page, so to speak. So if I'm talking about, let's say, for example, drama with my father, I'm going to write bare grass, jagged edge writing on that issue. So if I'm hitting a part of that story that I emotionally kind of closed up on, and this makes for great writing, but it's going to be just a floodgate. So that's why it's tough for me because I'm like, do I really want to open up all of Pandora's box? You know, with something I haven't kind of looked at yet. Yeah. But that makes for the best writing.
And Christian says the best stories are where two genres are mixed. And yes, that's kind of like this. This isn't just a sci-fi story. This is a human story. It just has sci-fi aspects to it. And, you know, people always ask me, what genre do you put your book in? And I'm like, I don't know. I really can't honestly answer that question because it's not a sci-fi story. It's not a human story. It has a little bit of romance and it has family and it has sci-fi. I mean, It's not just like you're flying, spaceships flying around looking for new life and blowing each other up. I mean, it's yes, there's aspects of that to the story, but I didn't want it to just be like, oh, check out this cool futuristic thing that I made up. It wasn't about that. It's like you're following the story of a man who loses it all, and and so Christian follows up and says, "You guys have any tips for writing comedy? Write naturally. Here's the biggest thing where people have a hang up with comedy. You try to be funny.
Yeah.
Write what's funny to you.
Mm.
Yeah, you may have a different sense of humor, but you're not writing to try to be the greatest comedian in the world. You're writing what's humorous to you. And the thing is, you're going to meet people who have the same sense of humor that you do, and they're going to fall in love with it, and they're going to expect that from you. Whereas if you try to write humor and then they meet you in person and they're like, this is totally, not this dude or this chick, that I read their writing, you want to be natural. You don't want to try to be overly funny. You don't want to try to like push it over the edge. If you think something's funny, like here's one of my favorite jokes in the world. What do what do you call a herd of masturbating cattle? It's beef stroganoff. I mean, that's
That's funny.
it gets me every time.
That is funny.
And it's short. There's not
But
any thinking to it. There's thinking when somebody asks you that and you've never heard it before because you're like, masturbating cows? Like, what? What are we talking about here? And then you get to the punchline and it's like short, it's sweet, it's funny. You're like, oh, I should have thought of that. How stupid of me. You laugh and then you move on, So make it short, make it sweet. Don't try too hard. That's really the only tip you can have for writing comedy. If something's funny to you, write it. I mean, there's going to be people out there that respect it. There's going to be people out there that it probably pisses off. I mean, anything you do, there's always going to be that one person out there that's going to be like, oh, I hate that. That's stupid. Or you went over the line. Or, like my my Chuck Penhow album cover post. I had way too much fun with that. But that's me, people expect it. Like when Steph posts some pictures of Wes Barnes to be, uh, he expects that I'm going to pull the image off there. I'm going to Photoshop some crazy shit in there, like Steph Wilson in Mad Max's car driving through the field. Witness me.
I like the one where he's like a model or something. He's like laying like this. Like,
that's just me, and if I don't rip on you and I don't give you a hard time, that's when you should worry,
yeah.
I like to have fun. So yeah, so you're talking about this one right here.
That was great. That's the Miami Vice one.
So, and that's what it is, and that's the thing, people have rough days, and that's why I like to joke around with everybody, and I post crazy stuff on your timelines, or I might Photoshop some crazy stuff, or even just reading the titles of my live shows. I always try to come up with something off the wall and funny, and everybody's like, oh, do you ever worry about the creators getting mad? And I'm like, if people know me, they know it's just my sense of humor, and I'm not just gonna be like, come on here and let's talk with John about Pow Con. I'm like, is it bang? Is it pow? Is it bang? Is it zap? No, it's Pow Con. Like banging it,
But
And
that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Me personally, I don't like watching any type of interview type of environment where it seems very scripted and by the book. To me, that's just boring. I'm not getting to know the artist. I'm not getting to know what makes the artist tick because I want to learn from them. It's like, okay, I'm going to say the answer that's supposed to be said. Well, that doesn't make me a better artist. That doesn't teach me anything, and that doesn't connect.
It's good that I've made an impression with my show. At first, I would get a lot of messages from people when you can send me the script over, and I'm like, "What script?" They're like, "Well, don't you script your show?" I'm like, "No, dude, you're flying by the seat of your pants. I'm gonna ask whatever I feel like asking in the moment." And they're like, "What kind of blasphemer are you?" And I'm like, "Dude, people don't give a shit about your project. They're coming there because they want to know you. And if they like you, then they're going to come check out your project, because that's what it's all about. People don't go to the cons because they want to buy a bunch of shit. People go to the cons because they want to meet you. They want to meet new people, new creators, people that they bond with on some sort of level. Hey, we're into the same thing. Hey, this is cool. Like you walk up to Chris McJunkin's table and he's got Falcor from the Neverending Story and Deadpool's riding on his back. You're like, oh man, you like the Neverending Story? It's these small things that you walk past the booth and something catches your eye and you're like, hey, I really love this. And then it sparks a conversation. The creator's like, oh, I'm really passionate about this. And then you guys start talking about it. And it's like, bam, you just made a best friend. You found somebody that you're going to follow for the rest of your life until they do something really off the wall that pisses you off, which usually probably won't happen, hopefully. But, that's what it's about, is building relationships, meeting new people, meeting new creators, people that you... Because, I mean, here's the honest to God truth. A project can look cool as all get out. But if you and the creator don't have anything in common, chances are that really cool project's not going to interest you because it doesn't contain any of the stuff that you're into. But you walk up to a creator and you're like, yeah, the project looks all right. And then you start talking, you find out like they're a huge Trekkie, and you're like, man, I love Star Trek too. And then you start talking about gargoyles, and then you start talking about PlayStation 1, and you bond over these things, that you guys have in common. And suddenly that boring book becomes really interesting to you because you're like, man, this guy's into the same stuff that I'm in. What's the story about? I might really like it. I want to pick it up. And so that's why I'm like, let's not get on here and talk for, 2 hours about your project. We're going to talk about you, your inspirations. Where did you come from? Because that's what I care about. Who inspired you? What books, what comics, what TV shows, what movies really moved you? What stuff are you into? Because I want to see what we have in common. And that's, what you go to the cons for. Yeah, you go to get book signed because you really love this cover. You may not have an emotional bond to that artist, or you may read a book that you really write and you want to meet this writer that you're so in love with. And sometimes they, what they say, don't meet your heroes. Sometimes it does happen.
Yeah.
But you don't get that time at a con. And that's why, 3 years ago, and 2018, it was probably, I want to say July-ish, I was like, hey, let's start Art Exposure. Let's get artists and writers and creators and whoever wants to be on here, and let's talk about you and what your aspirations are, what your inspirations are. Where do you want to be in 10 years? How did you get to where you're at now? What motivated you to want to write stories? How did you come up with this story? And let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's find out about you. And I had a hard time with it, man. Nobody wanted to do it. They're like, oh, I got con seasons up and I'm super busy. And I'm like, okay. And then, last year happened and everything shut down and I was at home, because the whole cancer thing last year. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. I regret not writing my book. I regret not finishing it and getting publishing it and getting it out there. So if it's the last thing that I do, I'm going to do it. And then I hadn't thought about Art Exposure and trying to restart that, but the kind of story about how Russ Explode Studios, I never came up with a show name for the show because it's just a show, I thought about like Blast Cast because we're gonna blow the airwaves up, and then everybody told me it sounded like a fishing show, which I think they're full of it, but so the kind of the birth of the shows was me asking the artist that I asked to do illustrations for the book. I mean, I never even intended on illustrations in the book, which I moved away from the comments. So I'm missing everybody's comments here. I think Russ will make a great skit writer on that, like SNL. What's going on, Steph? Nobody likes gargoyles. Get out of here. Get out. So, it was really cool how things that I tried to do back, 10 years ago with the book and things I tried to do 3 years with Art Exposure became a conglomerate. And it's like now Russ Explode Studios Books with Heart came to be. So I started writing the book. I made the company. I asked artists, I'm like, hey, everything's shutting down. I want to give you guys work. Let's make some illustrations for the book. And then I was like, hey, Ed, hey, Wendy, be on. And I want to talk about you and help other people see you. And so I had Ed's show and I had like somebody ask if they could be on. I was like, yeah, why not? And then I had Wendy's show, and then I had like a whole handful of people like, hey, when can I be on your show? And I'm like,
nice.
Well, it's not really a show. Like I'm just having the artists on that do pieces for the book, but sure, why not? I'll have you on. And I only did them on Tuesdays. Well, then it got to be
Mm.
like I had like 10 people a week asking me to be on, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to open up Sundays and do Sundays and Tuesdays. And now that cons and stuff are coming back and people are going back to work, things have died a little bit with it. But I'm still always actively searching. Hey, you seem like a pretty legit dude. I want to have you on and talk about you because I see him on another show, but all they're talking about is
Thank
a
you.
project, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'll send you a message. Let's talk. And I sign off because nobody wants to come on and just like sit for 2 hours and watch you scroll through a Kickstarter. If I like you, I'm going to go look at the Kickstarter, and that's what it's all about. And then Steph said, "Hey, Jonathan,
Hey, well, great,
thanks."
great creators. Steph, everyone, fantastic creators. Their projects are incredible. Always support them. They are fantastic, y'all. Really, really great. Great individuals and a phenomenal talent. So,
And Annabelle, I really appreciate that, man. I would love to do that. Like
yeah.
if you guys only knew the crazy things that go on inside this head, like I see stuff like I will be like seriously. So in the fraternity, like one of the things that we would do is we would sit out on the front porch when it was nice outside on the weekends, and we would just hang out and BS and drink or whatever. And I was always that guy. We would see two people walking down the street, and I would like do voices for each of the people. Like I would do like if it was a man and a woman, I'd be like, "Hey, baby, what's up?" And she'd be like, "Oh, hey, honey." And I would just make up these conversations, and it would just always have people cracking up because I would just come up with some off the wall crazy stuff, and that's just me. I've always been creative. I've always had a hyper imagination, and sometimes it gets a little out of hand, but just ask Steph Wilson and listen to this asshat. People asking to be on your show. You're a good fiction writer. That's all right. I still love you, Steph. You want to talk. You want to talk about fiction. I mean, the best fictional part that I think Steph Wilson has ever played has been Red Monica. And if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Here it is, right here. There's Steph as Red Monica, and there's Ruben Rosas, lending him some support because that's a pretty big, massive circle template. So, all right, so here we go. So Annabelle says, both of you, is there anything in your life right now that you either always knew you would be doing at this age or always dreamed of? And is there something that totally surprised you that you were doing? Not just creatively, I mean in life in general.
So I just want to make sure I got the question kind of correct. So he's asking, Annabelle's asking if there's anything that we would be doing outside of writing. If it wasn't for writing, if we wasn't doing writing, what else would we be doing? And was it something that happened in life that really surprised us, basically?
He's basically asking, at our age now, is there something that you're doing that you never thought that you would be doing? And is there something that you've done up to this point that just really surprised you that you're like, I can't believe I never thought I would do something like this?
Okay. Well, I definitely having my own publishing company and publishing another creator. I didn't think I would be doing that at all. Something that happened that surprised me is partly basically the same answer, but representing another creator. Yeah, definitely.
He's probably surprised he agreed to be on your show. Get out of here, Steph. And then Christian said, wow, great question, Annabelle. So, I don't know. Is there something that really surprised me at this point? So, I mean, to back up, I mean, as far as the creative part, that is what surprised me. I mean, backing all the way up to like third and fourth grade, I always wanted to be a writer. When we got those sheets from the teacher and she would say, color this picture, and then I want you to write a story about the picture. I always wrote, like a 9-10 page where other kids were like one or two. They're like, all right, I did it. Me, I'm like just running with it. I'm like, all right, so I'm going to create this whole world. And we got this character here. We're going to call him this. And, this is what's happening. They're on the search for this. And she was just, really astounded at my creativity as with writing. And so, I just enjoyed doing that. And I'm like, this is, one day I want to do this. And so then, you get all the people in your life like, oh, don't be a writer. You want to make a living. And
Yeah.
so,
Don't like
yeah, I don't either. So
Yeah.
to be honest, to answer your question, Annabelle, that is what surprised me. That I am where I am right now. I'm sitting here because I mean I'm a very vocal person. I'm always the center of attention in the room because I'm telling crazy stories and I like to have fun. And when the party starts to die down, I breathe life back into it again because I'm like, let's get crazy and do some stupid stuff. Let's blow something up. I mean, whatever it is.
No,
And
that's hey, I like that. I'm taking that.
yeah. Yeah. And so it's just, I never thought I'd be sitting here doing a live show. I mean, these are things that I never thought, 15, 20 years ago, I would be at this point in my life. Here I am sitting here. I just funded my book on Kickstarter. I'm in the process of fulfillment. I have a few things left to finish up, and they should be going out in a few weeks. I never thought that would happen. I wrote this book in 2010, and then our son was born, and he had to have open heart surgery, and it kind of set everything back. And then thing after thing kept happening, and I'm like, I had less and less time to work on it. And then we had another child, and one kid takes up enough time, then having two and working a full-time job and maintaining a house and just everything spirals out of control. So at that point, I'd pretty much given up on my dream, and I'm like, I'm never going to be at the point that I'm going to be able to, because I back then I was like, oh, I'll try to get a publisher, So that was the other really big surprise, like you said, you want running your own publishing company. That I self-published my book. Like, who knew 25 years ago, you would sit there and go, I'm going to self-publish my book. It was no, I'm going to write this book and hope somebody likes it enough that they're going to print it. Now it's, I love my book. I think you'll love it too. I'm printing it. Would you like a copy? And so that was a really big shock. I think all of that as a whole was what surprised me. It's like now, here I am. I've done, over 100 shows. I have on, people that I never thought in a million years would sit down and talk to me, and we have a good time. And I connect with them on a level that, we get done and like, hey, I really appreciate you having me on. I really enjoyed being on here. This was different, and to have people that are really high up there say that to me is just humbling because it's like, well, I'm really appreciate you being on. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I had a good time too because I found out stuff about you that I didn't really know. So,
Understand. Yeah.
if one thing I'm surprised at, I'm surprised I'm here talking with other fellow creators, helping lift them up, find out what inspired them, and I finally printed this book, which meant the world to me. And
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna lie, whenever I get it in and I open up the proof, I'm probably gonna cry. And it's not gonna be like
I
tears
hear
of
you.
sadness. It's gonna be like I'm smelling a freshly printed book that has my name on it. Like you tell me to this 20 years ago, and I would have been like, you know,
But and I have to say this definitely. You are an inspiration also to other people, and not just. I'm not just saying that because you're a super cool dude,
yeah,
but through the story, you are a fantastic dad, fantastic husband, supporter to your family, sustain your family, and you give and support indies unlike anybody I've seen. You are really about helping the indie community, and you juggle all very well with a book that I can't wait to get my copy. I'm like biting at the bit. And and you keep a positive attitude on top of it. So when that's a shining example of never lay down, never give up. I'm fighting all these things, and I'm constantly lifting up the people that I love around me and the community that I'm around. So that, to me, I'm inspired by you with that. Just being a father alone, because I don't even know if I'll be a good father. So I salute you.
well, I
And being a
appreciate that. And
creator,
none of
again,
us know that we're gonna be a good one. We just try to be the best we can be, and that's good enough.
there you go.
And that's part of why I wanted to do art exposure, was just to be able to give people the opportunity to have that one-on-one connection with people because you don't get that at the cons. You got a line of people and they're here's your signature, thanks for supporting, see ya. And people get this mentality that these people are on this pedestal, and it's like, no, we're all the same. We're
Huh.
all the same. When we sit down in a group setting like we are now, we have a chance to talk one-on-one, and we have people in the audience that can ask questions. You get to learn that, hey, these people are human too. Just because they make bank on hundreds of copies of covers and stuff every year, they're still human. They still have their interests. They still have stuff that you can connect with them on. They're not snobs like a lot of people. Oh, they're on this pedestal. There's a super. No, they're not. They're human, just like you and I. We have our creative differences. I'm a writer. They're an artist. Without me, they couldn't have a job, and without me, or without them, I couldn't have a job because I couldn't bring my characters to life. And it's like, it's a symbiotic relationship. We exist to help each other push our stories and our characters to the max. And, when the whole thing happened with me, finding out that I had cancer, and they really thought I did, and then thank God I didn't, it only took them 16 months to finally put the nail in and say, okay, it's not cancer. The mass is gone. Thank God. But,
that is
I
a
wanted
blessing.
I wanted to use my story to inspire other people. I wanted to get out there and say, you say you have all this adversity against you, but you can still push through and do what you want to do. There's nothing holding you back except for you. And, I have this talk with people all the time. People will message me, oh, I don't think I can do this. And I really want to do this, but nobody's going to like it. And it's like, listen, if there's one piece of advice I can give any writer or any artist out there, uh, like me, I'm doing these stuff pool commissions. So everybody that backed my book on day one, they get a stuff pool commission. So here's like a rough sketch of the one that I'm doing now. I'm not the greatest artist in the world, but you know what? I'm damn proud of this piece here where I drew Critter. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought it turned out really good. And then you got stuff pool. It's not
yeah.
about the quality of the art. It may not be the best art in the world. People love Stuff Pool because of the story.
There
The
you
art's
go.
just kind of like you got to have pictures to go with it. But the thing is I do it because I think it's funny as hell. Every
Yeah.
week that I'm able. I mean, lately I haven't been participating in You Can Draw just because I'm busy working on these. This is Smithers. Um, I've been working on these and trying to hammer these out, so I don't have a lot of extra time to do fun stuff. But here's the piece of advice that I want to give every artist, every writer, anybody out there that watches this or that is watching now. Don't do it because you want other people to love it. Do it because you love it. If you love what you've
Good.
done, you will show that through your
Yeah.
passion for your project. If you get out there and you man, I really want to do this project. This project means the world to me. And then you're out there, I don't know if people are gonna like that. People are gonna like feed on that negativity, and they're gonna be like, oh, this isn't for me. And that's one of the biggest things I see a lot of artists and a lot of creators they falter on is, they're really passionate about a project, and they get on there and they're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. It's like, no, dude, if you do you love your project? Yeah, I love my project. Then it's not pretty good. It's freaking awesome. It's amazing. Everybody's gonna be blown away by it because you love it. And it may not be everybody else's forte, but love your work. If you don't love it, then don't do it. If you're doing it, obviously you love it. Show it, and
Mhm.
that's my piece of advice for the night.
And what I love about going back going back to what you were saying about put your heart into it, you have to put it all in there in order to have a great story. People want to read the writer's story. They want to see a piece of I believe they want to see a piece of the writer in the story.
Yeah,
So for example, with Street Journal, there's me and George wrote Street Journal together. I created it, I wrote it, George co-wrote it and really elevated it. George Medina. And then we would do a read-through after. And there was points where I was reading through and I would get choked up because the words that character was saying to his cousin or to his father or to his aunt, which he sees falling and slipping, to violence in the home, is what I had said when there was tension in my home. Not necessarily to the extent of what was happening with the comic book, but these are things that I said when my father was sick. And I didn't realize that it was the same words that I said to my father that character is saying to his father, so on and so forth. And I said, okay, if it shook me up as a stepping back as a reader, then I've hit the pulse. I'm on the right track here. At least with this scene anyway, I'm on the right track. I think that's the things that people connect. If they can't see themselves in your work, then I think somewhere something got missed. You know.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, I live vicariously through Raziel. You know, I'm the kind of person that I don't give up on anything. I could be on my deathbed and I'll still get up and go to work tomorrow because the bills need to be paid, the kids need a roof over their head, they need food on their plate. I mean, that's me. I could literally be like, I can't even walk, and I'm, you know, then that's how I was last year. You know, I would go in late, you know, because I was having bad problems with my back after the car wreck, but like, you know, people are like, oh, take some time off from the show, take some time for yourself. I was like, no, you know, I've got a job to do that I want to do, and I'm the person that does it. You know, if I work all day and I'm tired and I come home and my grass needs to be mowed, I'm out there mowing it. I don't, I'll wait till tomorrow or I'll wait till the next day. I'm a go man. I'm a do man. And so that's part of why, you know, where my drive comes from for doing all this stuff. And so, you know, that's kind of what you see through Raziel. You know, he has this horrible accident and all these bad things just keep happening to him. And most people you would read be like, oh, this dude's just going to give up and say, screw it, I'm done, you know, but no, he pushes on because that's what we do. And that's what we need to do. And that's what we need to teach people again is even when life hands you a truckload of lemons, you're just going to have a shit ton of lemonade to sell. I mean, that's all that there is to it. And, you know, going back and when I never really like sat and read it out loud, but when I did the first Kickstarter last year in November, I read the first 3 chapters live, and I did like a Q&A breakdown, and I gave people a chance to ask questions. Why did you write that? And you know, it was kind of cool because as I was reading it, you know, Jack had already read the entire book up until that, before, you know, a few months before that, and he had asked me questions, and I'd never given him an answer to it. And it was because I wasn't ready to answer stuff yet. But, you know, the hardest part was reading the end of chapter 3 because at that point of the rewrite, it was like things were at their worst. And I was like, you know, Raziel saying goodbye in the end of chapter 3 to his family. It was like me saying goodbye to my family. Like, this is it. This is it. It's over for me. It was me having that feeling, not giving up, but I had that feeling, you know, even though I'm pushing through all this, you still can't stop from feeling like, hey, I'm at rock bottom and, you know, things aren't looking up. This is it for me. Um, and so going back and reading that out loud, I really choked up on it just because it was really hard. And then the very end of the book, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be surprised at what happens.
I know it's incredible. I know it's an incredible book. I'm like, I can't wait. I know it's just, you got a gem there. So it's over.
Russell never gives up. We beg him to stop trying, but he won't quit. I always say I'm both my biggest fan and my hardest critic, but I never show lack of passion or pride in my work. Exactly, Annabelle. That's exactly what it is. You always want to show pride. You always want to show passion because, you know, you would not spend countless hours drawing or countless hours writing the story unless you really believed in it. So show it. You know, don't be a negative Nancy. Nobody likes a negative Nancy. Steph. Can't stop, won't stop. Christian, that's it. Otherwise, we tried restraining orders. Yep. Hey, it doesn't work.
No.
I'm sneaky like a ninja.
Speaking of Street Journal, gotta shout out my boy Annabelle here. He did the art for the original 3 books, and he didn't just do art because he's a phenomenal sequential storyteller. Like, incredible sequential. But he did a lot of kind of correspondent feedback for us. He'll say, well, I love the pace you did here, but it's more impactful if we have the expression be here and then show the reaction and then show the after effect here. Let's move this over here, Luke. And he was fantastic at directing that type of the emotion and capturing the time and details. Phenomenal. And that's what we wanted in our story is we wanted to, speaking of Christian's point, we wanted to look like the South Bronx. We wanted it to feel like the South Bronx. One of the best compliments we get is when people pick up the book and they say, "That's me. That's my cousin. Well, that's my dad. That's my mom."
Or when you have
You
a
know,
lady that comes to the con and picks up your book and reads the first part of it and says she can't buy it because it's too real to her.
yes, you remember that story. Yes, so
Jonathan,
real that.
Jonathan, I have an elephant's memory. You'll come to learn
Oh,
that the
good.
longer you get to know me. I never forget things, just like I won't forget that Jonathan himself is a pretty good artist according to his friends. He just has
Yeah,
a fear of drawing ever since his dad was like, "Hey, man, that's not how faces look. That's not anatomically correct."
that
So now he
did
has a
it.
fear of showing his art. But one of
Yeah.
these days we're gonna push him out of his turtle shell and we're gonna get him to show some of his art here live. I want to be proud to be the first person to be like, hey, look, we're gonna have Jonathan show his art right now, and he's gonna hold it up and he's gonna be proud of it. He's gonna be like, look, Dad, I did it. It's anatomically correct. I didn't give
Well,
up. I just
you
did it in
inspired me,
hiding.
man. You inspired me. Okay, I'm going on the record. I'm going to start drawing Monday.
All right.
Russ has inspired me to draw.
All right. Well,
So
Tuesday, Monday night or Tuesday, I expect to see some posts with me tagged in it. Be like, check out my art. I mean, even if it's stick figures, I'm gonna show it some love. So
you gonna show some? Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm holding you to that. I'm holding you
yeah,
to that.
and then Steph Wilson will probably come in and give you some critique on it, and then you just remind him of that we've got some juicy pictures of him. I mean,
So I was gonna say, the face doesn't look proportionally anatomically.
and they're gonna be like, "All right, Steph, here you are getting apology balloons and flowers for Carrie for missing lines on your work,
Yeah.
and just don't make me bust out the Steph Wilson Valentine's Day cards. You make my art complete." I mean, so like I said, I have a really good sense of humor, and so does Steph. I'm an art breaker, and so people are like, man, this guy must really hate Steph, and like Steph gets it. I mean, even Philip Russert. So Philip Russert comes on my show, and Steph and I and Phil and all these guys, Ruben and Wendy and April and Tom Andreessen, we all have a really good relationship. Like we dog the crap out of each other, and we and that's all we do all week, and it's great because it keeps us moving. When we're having an off day, we stop and we get on Facebook and like, oh boy, what kind of crap is Russell talking today? Or hey, what kind of crap is Steph talking today? And we know it's all in good fun. It's lighthearted jokes. Other people may not think so, and they're probably like, these guys hate each other. But Philip Russer comes on the show, and this was the
Oh,
advertisement for it. He was the Philly cheesesteak. Ooh, baby, I roast so good every
good.
day. And so we roasted him the entire show. I
Wow.
blasted him, Steph Wilson blasted him, and several Del Guzman got on here, which is one of Phil's followers, and he was roasting them. Steve Garcia jumped in, and we had a great time, and we had a lot of fun. It was great. We had a blast, and it was one of the most fun shows that we had, just because everybody just let loose. We were just talking smack to each other, and it was fun. It was really good to do. It was all lighthearted comedy, and we had a great time. And so, that carries on through the work week. I'm at work driving, I get on there, and Steph's talking smack about my cable access TV show, and so shots fired, shots fired.
But I'm with you on that because between Sam, Annabelle, and George, they always like joke on me because there's always something I do that makes no sense to nobody. And Annabelle could vouch for that. They even coined it like, oh, that's a Jonathan thing. That's a Jonathan thing. And they'll just bust out. They won't even try to figure it out. They'll just bust out laughing. But that's real brotherhood and connection and family. That's when you know you got that love between that community. And that's the type of relationship and connection that the whole independent community should have on a regular basis. Not just on a show, not just when I'm when I'm asking you to support me on something, but just in general, it should be an independent community, because at the end of the day, we're all sharing ourselves and our talent with each other in the world. So we have that common bond. So, yeah.
Well, and I mean, we all need to work together. But one of the greatest things about it is so I want to take a second to talk about this real quick while we're on the subject of talking about working together. You know, creators working together make really cool things happen. So I'm a
Yeah.
huge supporter of CB4K.org. And so when I did my very first Xenonanite Titan Kickstarter, I reached out to Steph and Carrie and I said, hey, would you guys be willing to help me out and do some art? Let's figure something out. Can you do this for a shirt? And I'm like, yeah, we can do that. I was like, I want to commission you to do this. And so I'm like, I want it to be me as Xenonanite Titan reading a book to my son after an open heart surgery. And then,
No.
so I was telling Wendy about it, and Wendy teared up and she's like, that's beautiful. And she said, why don't you have Sissy at the end of the bed with a balloon? So I messaged Steph and I'm like, all right, so I was talking to Wendy about it. She teared up about it and she's like, hey, we can't leave Sissy out. She wants Sissy at the end of the bed. If it's going to be extra, just let me know and I'll take care of it. And he's like, oh, Wendy in her edits. So, a month later, this is what came up.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
and
Very.
so this is one of the success stories that came out of a negative turned into a positive. When one door closes, another one opens. So my project didn't fund. But Mark Weiss, the owner of operator of CB4K.org, was trying to get people to do t-shirts. He had reached out through emails to a couple of different companies. Nobody was getting back to him. He gets on Facebook, and first thing that pops up on there is my post on Facebook about getting this shirt to help support CB4K. And he's like, oh my gosh, I love that. That's awesome. So he told his daughter to reach out to me. She messaged me on Facebook, gave me his phone number. I called him. I thought I was in trouble. And the rest is history. So because of collaborating with Steph and Carrie and Wendy and doing this piece and wanting to help out the kids, it opened up an opportunity for me to do that full time. So that being said,
Nice.
anybody that has missed the announcement, I am now an official member of Comic Books for Kids, CB4K.org, and I am the official T-shirt supplier for CB4K. So I opened a store on my website. I'm gonna pop that link into the comments right there at xenonanitetitan.com/shop. I wanted to take a second to talk about that because he was talking about people collaborating and working together. We all work together, and I give them just as much credit for helping make this happen. Because if it wouldn't have been for Steph saying, "Yeah, we've got time, we'll try to fit it in there," because he was slammed. He had all these covers he was working on, and so for him to take the time to do this, and the love really shows. And so this is something that's really huge to me. So, anybody that's watching, anybody that goes back and watches this, please check out the website. There's tank tops, there's hoodies, there's t-shirts, there's kids to adults. If it doesn't tickle your fancy or whatever, you want to just give straight to them, you can go to cb4k.org. Or at least share it out, please. I want to help get the word out because all proceeds from the merchandise that's sold goes to Comic Books for Kids. And the last thing I wanted to say about it too is if you guys have any art that you want to donate, you have art that you did that you're not in love with anymore, and it's a decent sketch, but you're just not feeling it. And instead of throwing it in the garbage, send it my way. Say, hey Russ, I got this piece that I did. I'm not loving it. See if somebody else likes it and try to auction it off for CB4K. I would love to be able to do that instead of you guys being like, this drawing sucks and throw it away like I see a lot of artists do. And I'm like, what are you doing? Save that stuff. Put it on your table for the kids and be like, here, have a drawing. Some little kid somewhere would love that piece, but just because you hate it, you wadded it up and threw it in the trash. What are you doing? So, it happens all the time. But seriously though, if you have a piece that you do love and you just like want to help give, you can send those pieces to me. That's the reason why I want to do it that way, is because I don't know everybody in the world or how honest of a person they are, and I would hate for the last thing to be would be as being part of the organization for somebody to auction off a piece and then get the money and they disappear. Nobody ever gets their art. So one of the things that to keep things legit as far as things go with cb4k.org, so they don't get the backlash of, hey, I never got the piece, or whatever. That's why I ask the pieces be sent here just to cover Mark, and Mark and them are always so busy. They're shipping constantly to hospitals. I guess I should talk about what CB4K is about. Basically, they send coloring books, toys, Pez dispensers, comic books, pop figures to hospitals across the nation with kids that are critically ill that may not ever get to go home again. My son has had open heart surgeries. We've seen the benefits of somebody walking in and giving a kid a 99-cent Hot Wheel. They just had open heart surgery, and it gives them a half an hour to forget about it. That's the greatest feeling in the world, is seeing that and then finding a way that I can give back and do that, give other kids that feeling. So that being said, please, check out the website, share the website out. Hey, it's no problem, Annabelle. If you have, like I said, if you have pieces laying around that you're just gonna throw away, or you're not in love with, and you want to send them to me, somebody out there will love it. At least raise a few bucks for the kids, because that's what it's all about. So, what time you got to be at the con in the morning, Jonathan?
I have to be there. Well, I gotta be up at 7:30. We gotta be there at 10:30. But we always try to give ourselves like an hour and a half to set up. So, but I gotta be up and ready.
So an hour and a half to set up. What you mean is an hour to have breakfast with the boys, and then a half hour to set up. Like, let's be honest here. Let's be truthful. So we're gonna be hanging with the boys. Where are we going? We going to Denny's, Mickey D's?
I would like IHOP.
IHOP.
I would go for IHOP. Definitely would like to start the morning IHOP, but most likely we'll probably do like Burger King or McDonald's breakfast, something like that. I like IHOP. The funny thing is, when it comes to the shows, I tend to get there an hour ahead. If I'm working with someone else's time, I can't necessarily tie it to that, but I tend to get in the door an hour ahead because I hate rushing. That's one thing. I can't stand starting the day behind the clock. Like, it just throws me over.
Jonathan, translation mode has been activated. Jonathan gets to the cons early because he wants to peruse all the other tables and see what he can buy on the way in.
Was that true?
Come on. I know you better than that. Because I do the same things. I'm like, I'm going to show up early just because I'll be in line with binoculars. I'll be like, oh man, what do they got on that table? Which table I got to go to first? I mean, that's the thing. Because when I went to C2E2 back in 2019, it's like you walk in and you get in line, and so the way they do it is they got the hallway, and then this side is security. You go in, and then through security, and then you come back up, and then cross over the hallway into the con. And you look over, and the con floor is just absolutely massive, and you're like, oh my god, I don't even know where to go. I was so lost. And the worst part about it is they moved artists. So they had an app. They have an app that you can download that tells you where all the artists are located at. And none of them were where they were supposed to be. So there was people, I'm like, hey, where's this artist at? They're like, oh, we have to move them over here. I'm like, what's the point of this map if nobody's where they're... Well, some of them are where they're supposed to be. But yeah, I mean, that's the best part about getting to the cons early, is walking by and seeing who's where. And that way later on when you got to take a break, somebody else is watching the table for a minute, you can go run and run up and say hi to all the people you want to see and get your book signed and pick up some stuff, because that's the best thing about going to cons, is coming home with some cool stuff.
Well, I'm a fanboy, so I go right for the dollar bins. I go crazy on. So I got my list. I'm doing this to the book. Under the Light. No crease, okay. Oh, there's a little crease here. Do you have a copy without the crease here? Do you? I'm all like that. So.
Yeah, I've never had that happen before. My browser just force quit and went to the home screen.
The timing was good though. Because I was doing visuals.
I know I was watching it on the computer over here. You had the print up, and you're like doing this with it. I was like, well, at least he's keeping the crowd occupied while I'm gone. I don't know what happened. That was the weirdest thing ever. It was like deleted. Yeah.
But you came back.
Yeah, I'll see here what it is I was giving away all your trade secrets, and so you removed me from the show with your voodoo magic. Don't lie to me.
That's what it was. Oh, we saying too much.
Yeah, get out of here, man. Give away all my secrets. Telling everybody to show up to the cons an hour early so I can't get my stuff.
So I can't.
I am excited, though. So July 17th, Russ Explode Studios will be doing their very first con as a creator at Heroes for Kids Con in Perryville, Missouri. So it's July 17th. It starts at 10 o'clock, and I think it goes till 5. All proceeds from the show. So anybody that's local, that goes back and watches this, you live in Illinois or you want to come down and take a trip, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on there. And all proceeds from the show go towards the Veterans Memorial Fund and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So a few years ago, they donated the proceeds from the event to Cardinal Glennon Hospital, which is where my son has his open heart surgeries at. And the other hospital down the road from it, St. Louis Children's Hospital. So they donated proceeds to those hospitals to help them out with, stuff for the kids. So I heard about that, and I was like, it's an awesome thing. So even if I go down there and just hang out with some of the people that I know and get to meet them in person for the first time and give back to the kids, that's a win for me, But it'll be exciting, I'll have my booth set up because everything should be shipped out by then. I should be finished fulfilling before the end of June. So by the time July 17th rolls around, I'll be ready to stack them books up on the table and show off all the goodies I have to offer.
Well, that's a good trip to go to Missouri. You may see me pop up there looking in the dollar bin. Hey, that's John.
Hey, you know what? I will pick up a short box full of dollar books and give them to you if you come to Missouri, and I'll be like, here, go through this. Jonathan's like, meet. He's already at the convention center waiting. He's like, well, you guys aren't here yet? Oh, I'm more than an hour early.
Russ told me he's going to give me a dollar bin. Could you please contact Russ?
Yeah. Does somebody contact Russ Explode Studios and hit them up? Ask them where they are. I'm waiting patiently for my dollar bin. But I got news for you though. It's going to just be 150 copies of Darkhawk #1. So
that'll be. I'll be like, I flew all the way out here for the same issue. I can't believe.
Hey, you know what? When we say you've got issues, it'll be true. Because you've got 150 of the same book.
That's the first time I'll be like, I wish I didn't get short box. I wish I didn't.
This is the worst dollar bin ever.
Yeah, that's the worst dollar bin.
I didn't even pay $1 for any of these. So, folks, I want to kind of wrap the show up here. Jonathan, thanks so much for being on tonight. Anybody, if you're in the New Jersey area, you're welcome. Yeah. If you're in the New Jersey area, please go check out Pow Con. I'm going to pull the link up real quick again and pop it in here for you guys to go check out their actual website here on, well, not their website, but their Facebook page for the Pow Con, so you can see all the other stuff that they have going on this weekend. Jonathan, I want to give you a chance while I'm pulling up this link. Tell everybody about your projects, about your books, and a little bit about you and where they can find you.
Okay. I am Jonathan Fairfax from Futurescope Comics. I'm going to be at the Pow Con with my other partner for the company, Derek Peoples, who is the creator and writer of The Lesson. Very cool book. This will be available for purchase to pick up at the show. We also will have Futurescope Showcase comic from my company, Celestine and Other Stories, available for purchase as well. You could find us on Facebook, my page on Facebook, along with their people's page. And also, the website is Future Scope Comics and Entertainment. Also, who will be there is George Medina and Samuel Vera with fantastic books of their own. So please check them out and support them as well. Great stuff. Sal Romanico is the gentleman that's running the show. So if you could get out there and support us, we'd love to see you there and meet you. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a ball. And please support the causes of Russell. Russell, it's a lot of great stuff. The kids really need the help, and y'all will really be putting a great light in these kids' life. And thank you so much, really, for your support of Russell and everything that we're doing. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
And you know, that's what it's all about. As creators, we strive to put smile on other people's faces, give them a chance to take their mind off of things. And sometimes we can do something just as simple as a toy for a kid, and that's what the comic books for kids does. They send small things and they put smile on faces. So it's the easiest way. And there's nothing greater than seeing a kid that's in pain turn that frown upside down, man. So I wish you guys a good show to.
I'm sorry, I want to ask, and you could give, if someone wanted to give on behalf of this show, like cash, cash donations, or let's say a slew of toys to you, mail them to you to give to the kids. They could do that. That would probably be best
for cash donations, you can go to cb4k.org. I'll put the link in there. You can go straight to cb4k.org, and they've got a PayPal link on their website. If you're going to donate money, I just would prefer you guys donate straight to them, because when you send money through PayPal, they take their percentage, and then when I send it to Mark, they take a percentage again.
Okay.
But if I'm auctioning a piece and somebody pays me, then I send it to Mark, then it's not such a big deal. But there's the link right there, cb4k.org. You guys want to go check it out. You can do mail donations. You can mail in books. You can mail toys to them. When you go to their website, you just go to contact them, and then on their page, it'll show you the address where you can send stuff in. And there's also comic books for troops, cb4t.org. So do you have mature rated books, teen rated books, books that kids cannot read? Now there's a venue through CB4K that you can send those books to them, and they will send them overseas to the troops and give them something to read. So now you can also give troops a smile on their face. So if that's something that interests you, you want to give back to the people who serve our country, that's another great way to give.
Fantastic. Sounds great, man.
I wish you all the luck on your show tomorrow. I hope you guys have a good time. If you guys get a chance, go live, show off the show, show off your booth, and come say hi to everybody. Tag me, let me know. I'd like to jump on and say hi to you guys and see what's going on. So
definitely will. And thank you so much for this. Really great dude, and your support is fantastic, man. You always got family here with us, so
I appreciate
anything we can do to help, let us know.
And Christian says, "Good luck, guys."
Thank you, Christian.
Well, I'm going to kick you back to the green room. If you want to hang out for just a second, I'll be right back.
Fantastic.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming in tonight and talking about our inspirations, our aspirations, and talking about Pow Con and listening to what Jonathan had to say and checking out the projects that he will be showcasing at the show tomorrow. So if you know anybody that lives in the area, let them know that the con's going on. Tell them to go check it out. They're giving away PS5s, and Jonathan and his crew and all of them will be there showing off their books. So it's a great chance to get to meet them, purchase their books, get your books signed, and so on and so forth. So also, please share that out. I popped the link in there. And yeah, that locked up. So there it is right there on Facebook. It's just Pow Comic Con. Go check that out. Share that link out. Share it out all over the place. A lot of people might see it that don't know that it's going on. And help bring more people to the venue and help them have more of a viewing on their projects and their products that they're putting out there. Give them a chance to meet some cool people. So everyone, thanks so much for being here. I will see you guys again Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern with Luke Stone. We're going to be talking about Hybrid 7. And Tuesday, I will have Terry Mayo on. We'll be talking about his project Buddy. So everyone, thanks so much for being here tonight. And as always, this is Russ Explode Studios with projects that'll blow your mind. You guys have a great night.